Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to be reading a story called The Eerie Attic. Before Reddit.com user Diggs Dawes got down to recounting their scariest of ghost stories about living in a place that was obvious teeming with honest-to-goodness members of the spiritual world. They pointed out the eerie of ghost stories that had begun with a phrase, "I don't believe in ghosts, but... After all, no matter how a ghost story begins, it always hinges on the notion that comes on, of course, we believe in ghosts. A few years ago, I moved into a one-bedroom apartment in Australia. They went on to recall. It was my first living on my own. The apartment block had built in the 1930s. I'd been there for a few months when I came home from work one day, went into the bathroom. I saw something strange. A wooden board which had covered a hole in the ceiling that led to a small attic space lay frustrated in two pieces on the ground. I examined the pieces. The board was an inch thick, and it would have taken Bruce Lee to break it. I thought the landlord had sent someone to work in the attic. I froze, stiff with fear. Someone is up there for sure, I thought. I emailed pictures to the landlord, asked if anyone has been there. With an undertone of annoyance, she hadn't warned me. Her response read, "Please call me as soon as you are able to." I called and explained that the last two tenants had said the same thing has happened. She promised that she replaced the board, as she did. A month later, I woke up around 4 a.m. My body was covered in goosebumps. It had felt like someone was rubbing his or her hands on mine. Everything was silent, but then I heard dragging sounds coming from my bed. It was as if someone was pulling sacked potatoes. I froze, convinced someone was up there. There was no way an animal could make that sound. After 5 minutes, I worked up to have the courage to turn on the light. I armed myself with a cricket bat and walked to the bathroom. That's when I saw the new board covering the hole was broken in two. I felt sick, and dragging sounds had stopped. But I heard something else, whispering. The sound was clear and coming from the attic. It sounded like children's voices, and I could hear one sentence repeat over and over. "It's your turn. It's your turn." I switched every light in the apartment to make things feel normal. It was 5 a.m. and dark outside. I watched TV to try to unwind. Then a few fuss blew. My pet boogie, Dexter, whom I kept in the kitchen, usually never made a sound at night, but he started squealing like he was being strangled. I never heard him making those sorts of noises. He was screaming. I grabbed my car keys and ran out, sat in my car, waited until the sun came up. When I saw people walking their dogs, this comforted me enough to get back in. The front door was open. I figured I might have forgotten to close it when I ran out. When I went in the kitchen to check on Dexter, he was not in his cage. I felt sick again. All the windows were closed, so I looked everywhere inside. When I walked into the bathroom, I heard splashing. Dexter was half drowning in the toilet. I took him out, washed him, and dried him. I was so confused. At 8 a.m., I called the landlord and gave her a watered-down version of the night. "Oh, wow, you heard the whispering too?" she said. "I stayed at the apartment for 18 months. I heard the whispering on the few occasions, and twice the board covering the hole in the ceiling moved. Although I lived somewhere else now, the landlord recently called me. She said that her new tenants began to speak with me about some stuff that's beginning on there. Forget it. Now that there's a problem." So I hope you guys enjoyed this story. If you guys do, let me know by liking, subscribing, etc. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye!